So, arriving in a peaceful hermit grove, she rests, or funny, no? Funny. Near to a lion river's tawny mane, a river is compared to a lion. And the lion has a mane, hair on the neck. It is tawny colored. So the bank of the river is compared with its sand to the tawny mane of a lion. When she comes to that river on the road, and trees that worship on a praying shore, the shore of the river, it is as if the trees that are there are in worship. There is such a serene atmosphere that the trees are worshipping a domed and templed air's serene repose. There is a temple with a dome on the road, and the serene repose of that temple beckoned to her hurrying wheels to stay their speed. As the caravan, as the carriage speeds on, this temple signals to her to slow down. In the solemnity of a space that seemed a mind remembering ancient silences, there is so much of peace, such a solemnity about that spot, that it is as if it is a mind remembering the silences of bygone days, where to the heart great bygone voices called, and the large liberty of brooding seers had left the long impress of their soul seen. In that spot, the brooding seers, the seers in contemplation of the past, had left an impression, a stamp of what happened in their soul. And that soul's scene, awake in the candid dawn or darkness mood, it was awake. One could feel it in the dawn, hours of the dawn, or in the moon, in the dark night. To the still touch inclined the daughter of flame. Daughter of flame is the princess Savitri. It inclined her to that stillness, to that peace, drank in hushed splendor between tranquil lids, and felt the kinship of eternal calm. That is, when she goes to sleep, between her peaceful eyelids, she drinks that silent splendor and feels her kinship relationship with the eternal calm that is praying. The poet is describing the various locations where, where she spends her night. After describing the scenes of the night, but morn broke in, reminding her of her quest, She is not allowed to luxuriate in the peace and the silence, but the morn breaks and she is reminded that she is on a quest for something, and from this low, rustic couch or mat she rose. There are no beds there. She sleeps either on a mat or on a bench, a rustic couch, and went impelled on her unfinished way. She proceeds on her way, which is clearly not yet finished, and followed the fateful orbit of her life. She does not know where she is proceeding. That arc, a very fateful arc, she follows wherever she is led. Like a desire that questions silent gods, then passes starlight to some bright beyond. Like a human desire that question puts a question to the silent gods where it can fulfill itself, but gets no answer. And then that desire, aspiration, passes like a star to some bright beyond the gods. You knock at the doors of the gods, and when they don't reply, you proceed beyond. Thence to great solitary tracts she came. She comes to deserted lands where nobody lives, where man was a passer-by towards human scenes. There are no human habitations here, but through these areas men pass through towards where human habitations are. Thence to great solitary tract she came, where man was a passer-by towards human scenes. Oh, soul in nature's vastness strove to live. Or man struggles to live in this vastness of nature and called for help to ensouled invisible powers, the gods and goddesses, the deities. Man calls for their help. Why does he call? Because he is afraid, overwhelmed by the immensity of his world and unaware of his own infinity. He is afraid. He prays to the gods, but all the while he forgets that he has the infinite divinity within himself. If he were aware, he would not pray to external agencies for help. The earth multiplied to her a changing brow and called her with a far and nameless voice. As Savitri proceeds, earth presents to her many scenes, many tracts, and calls her with a far and nameless voice. As if from far she is called and she proceeds. The mountains in their anchorite solitude, anchorite like hermits, where there is no human habitation, solitary sannyasis. The mountains look as so many hermits. The forests with their multitudinous chant. Chant is as the wind passes through the trees of the forest, it creates a sound which is multiple in character. The mountains in their anchorite solitude, the forests with their multitudinous chant disclose to her the masked divinities' doors. No, all these act like doors to God, to Savitri. On dreaming plains, on plains which look as if they are dreaming, there is no activity there, an indolent expanse, a vast tract, idle, the deathbed of a pale enchanted eve, that is, the pale evening sets, and that is why it is called the deathbed, under the glamour of a sunken sky where the sun has sunk, but still there is a glow under that sky. Impassive she lay as at an age's end. Earth lay as if it were the end of an age. Or, no, it is Savitri who lays down, lay down at an age's end, or crossed an eager pack of huddled hills, hills which are standing huddled against each other. She crosses them, and these hills, lifting their heads to hunt a lair-like sky, as if the sky is a cave or a place where the prey is there, and these hills are hunting in the sky for their food, or travelled in a strange and empty land where desolate summits camped in a weird heaven, or she travels in a new vacant land where bare peaks of mountains look as if they are camping in a strange and fearful heaven. Mute sentinels beneath a drifting moon. The moon looks like drifting, moving, and these peaks of the hills are silent sentinels. Or wandered in some lone tremendous wood, or she goes in her carriage in some lonely, magnificent forest, ringing forever with the cricket's cry, where that insect cricket goes on making its noise continuously, or followed a long glistening serpent road, or she follows a serpentine road shining in the sun through fields and pastures lapped in moveless light, or reached the wild beauty of a desert space. Even the desert has a wild beauty, and she reaches there. And that desert space is where never plough was driven, nor herd had grazed. Nobody had tilled the land, no cattle had grazed there, and slumbered upon stripped and thirsty sands. She goes into slumber on these sandy tracts amid the savage wild beast night's appeal. In the dead of night, where the savage beasts make their shout, in that night, which is like a wild beast, she slumbers. Still unaccomplished was the fateful quest. Still she found not the one predestined face. She has not found yet the face of the man who is intended for her, for which she sought amid the sons of men. A grandiose silence wrapped the regal day. The royal day ends in a great silence. She does not meet the person whom she wants. And so it goes on. The months had fed the passion of the sun. Summer is increasing. All the past months of the spring had increased the heat of the sun. And now his burning breath assailed the soil. The soil of the earth is invaded by the burning hot breath of the sun. The tiger heats prowled through the fainting earth. The earth is fainting, as it were, under the heat, and these heats are likened to tigers which prowl, surreptitiously walk through. All was licked up as by a loading tongue. All the forest, the earth, the river, everything is being licked up by the tongue of the sun. The spring winds failed. The spring is over. The sky was set like bronze. That is, the sky is brown, bright. The summer has begun. And there ends the canto. And we will take up next time the Book of Love, the 5th canto, where Savitri is to meet Satyavan. And now we'll have meditation for 10 minutes.